Hello, my name is Brooke Dieters. Myself, along with my teammates Braden Robinson, Chase Wall, Grace Helm, Lexi Stroiling, and Tyler Seiko are working as analysts for Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines, with stock market code DAL, is one of the largest airline competitors in the United States. Delta is an international airline company that is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia. Delta offers flights to over 1,000 destinations, 60 countries, and 6 continents. As a team, we have analyzed the competitiveness of Delta Airlines in order to offer strategy recommendations. Delta is a large company with a broad differentiation strategy. They have taken many steps to set themselves apart from their competitors, giving them a competitive advantage. They have adapted their strategy throughout the years to fit market demand. Their current market focus is on commercial airlines and cargo. A brief history of Delta Airlines is that in 1925 they were founded as Huff Dayland Dusters, a crop dusting company. In 1929, they offered their first passenger airlight flights from Texas to Mississippi. In 1934, they began operating as Delta Airlines. In 1955, they pioneered their hub and spoke system that utilizes a central airport hub that flight routes, or spokes, are routed through. In 1975, they began air cargo service called Delta Air Express. In 1991, they acquired Pan Am's transatlantic routes. In 2008, Delta acquired Northwest Airlines and were the first to offer onboard Wi-Fi. In 2013, Delta acquired a 49% stake in UK's Virgin Atlantic Airline. In 2018, they entered a joint venture partnership with Korean Air. And presently, the CEO is Ed Bastian, and he has been in this position since 2016. Delta's mission statement is, as a purpose-driven brand, we connect people to opportunities while expanding the understanding of our planet and the people within it. We, Delta's employees, customers, and community partners, together form a force for positive local and global change dedicated to bettering standards of living. Their company values are honesty, integrity, respect, perseverance, and servant leadership. Their company objective is to connect with different people and show them respect as their passengers. As we continue our presentation, we are going to share our external analysis, SWOT analysis, internal analysis, strategic overview and plan, and our proposal for Delta's future success. I will now turn the time over to Chase with the external analysis.
Hi, my name is Chase, and I would like to go over the external analysis of Delta Airlines. The competitive landscape for commercial airlines is largely made up of a few well-known airlines like Delta. This landscape is difficult for new competition to enter due to high startup costs and lack of brand recognition. There is high competition between the major airlines in this market due to the vast number of customers. Some of Delta's largest competitors are United Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and American Airlines. It is easy for a consumer to change airlines because they're willing to tolerate occasional inconveniences in exchange for a more affordable ticket price. Because of this, buyers have a good amount of bargaining power. The rise of third-party trip booking websites and smartphone apps increases the likelihood of consumers switching from one airline to another. Suppliers, on the other hand, are very loyal. Because of how few airlines there are, suppliers have a very strong incentive to stay on good terms with each airline. Losing one airline could mean losing millions of dollars. Now, although not everyone is loyal to Delta after flying with them once, there is still a very high demand for flights. People choose to fly Delta Airlines because it is much faster than alternatives. This means things such as cars, trains, boats, or even a bus. While it may turn out to be a more expensive trip than those options, it will always be the fastest and most convenient way to travel long distances. After evaluating these things that help make up the macro environment, we came up with the pestle analysis. PESTLE stands for political, economic, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, and legal. The PESTLE analysis is used to assess strategic relevance of these 6 principles. Or to put it in simpler terms, is there a risk to Delta's competitive strategy that is associated to any of these 6 principles? To start at the political level, we found that government policies that create a higher tax for airplanes means there's lower demand for the commercial airplane industry. Next, we have the economic conditions. Economic conditions have shown us that inflation, pilot shortages, and fuel prices could create a mild risk for Delta. With many of these things happening today, we're sure they're not uncommon with other airlines and can see these problems as an industry-wide problem. With socio-cultural forces, we found that there are, as mentioned above, many different ways to travel, none of which are as fast as air travel. Because of how many different types of travel there are, we found this to be a mild risk for Delta as well. Next, we have the technological factors. Air travel is always going through engineering and efficiency changes. One of the biggest concerns for commercial air travel is safety. And the air travel industry is always looking to improve that. Next, we have one of the more important factors to consider, and that is environmental forces. This includes factors like bad weather that could cause weather delays and canceled flights. This is not only a company-specific problem, but an industry-wide problem. It's not safe to fly when the weather is stormy. Lastly, we have legal and regulatory factors. There aren't many things here to be concerned about in the airline business. Delta does need to follow OSHA regulations and labor laws, but other than that, there's not a whole lot that's restricting them as a business. That's all I have about the external analysis. So now I will turn the time over to Tyler to talk about the SWOT analysis.
My name is Tyler, and I'm going to cover the SWOT analysis for Delta Airlines. To start off with their strengths, Delta stands out as one of the airlines with the largest fleet, while also having one of the largest inventories of different types of airplanes. Delta has a strong brand value and reputation that not only earns them new customers, but also helps retain customers. This also plays into Delta's reputation for having great customer service. Delta founded SkyTeam that has over 18 members and allows for alliances with other airlines. Delta flies to many destinations worldwide, and they have a large customer base in both commercial and cargo flights. For their weaknesses, Delta's biggest market is North America, which accounts for over 80% of their total revenue. Delta has one of the highest attrition rates compared to the industry. High turnover rates means the company has to invest more money into training employees. For their opportunities, studies have shown that millennials spend the most on airline services. By targeting that generation, they can expand their customer base. Delta can also expand their social media presence to reach more people in ways that traditional marketing cannot. Delta's maintenance division is instrumental in ensuring the company's aircraft function properly. Delta can use this department as a business opportunity to start providing maintenance services to other airlines. With new technologies being developed, Delta can implement them into their airplanes to improve customer experience. For the threats, the industry continuously has to deal with new laws and regulations that can affect the company and may lead to higher cost of operation as well as other legal risks. There is growing competition, both locally and internationally, that Delta has to deal with. Things like natural disasters and pandemics can largely affect the industry, like the COVID-19 pandemic a few years ago. Inflation rates and rising fuel costs can affect the company, as well as political issues throughout the world. For example, the war between Russia and Ukraine caused Delta to cut ties with Aeroflot, a Russian national airline. Because of this, they had to reroute flights and increase ticket prices.
For Delta's internal analysis, they have high buying power for hiring new pilots on. They have great brand recognition. Their seat design is patent Delta-specific technology for passengers and includes screens. They have the Delta SkyMiles rewards program for frequent flyers. They have great brand loyalty. They have a large fleet. They have one of the top-rated customer service in the airline industry. They have the most consistent on-time flights compared to the competitors such as Southwest, and they have great alliances with other airlines. For the VRIN model, the resources we used were brand recognition, alliances with other airlines, patented technology for passengers, and high buying power for new pilots. For brand recognition, it is valuable, it is rare, it is costly to imitate, and it is an organization. For alliances with other airlines, it is valuable. It is not rare because other airlines have alliances as well. It is costly to imitate, and it is an organization. For patented technology for passengers, it is valuable, it is rare, it is costly to imitate, and it's an organization. And lastly, the high buying power for new pilots is valuable, it's rare, it's costly to imitate, and it's an organization.
My name is Lexi. Delta employs an international broad differentiation strategy. The company's international strategy has been implemented by making alliances with foreign companies in order to enter foreign markets. The majority of these alliances have been joint ventures in which Delta has invested in to gain revenue from customers around the globe. These joint ventures include airlines like Czech Airlines, Korean Airlines, Vietnam Airlines, and many more. This is not an extensive list. The second part of Delta's strategy is its broad differentiation strategy. Delta has diversified outside of the commercial airline market into the cargo airline market. This has allowed Delta to earn revenue outside of the typical customer base its competitors rely on. Delta is a part of SkyTeam Cargo Airline Alliance, where they transport pharmaceuticals, organs for transplant, fresh flowers, and seasonal produce. Delta's main competitors are Southwest, United, and American Airlines. All of these commercial airline companies operate internationally, which is why these companies are the biggest competitors for Delta. We have compared Delta and Southwest in several metrics that explain how successful Delta's strategy has worked. The first metric is net profit margin. Delta's net profit margin is 7.94%, and Southwest's net profit margin is 1.78%, which means that Delta is getting more profit per expense than Southwest is. The second metric we looked at was return on equity. Delta's return on equity is 41.5%, which is almost 10 times higher than Southwest's 4.42%. And this means that shareholders investing the same dollar into Delta as they would to Southwest would receive 10 times their money back by investing in Delta. Delta's strategy has pushed the company into the top spot in the airline market. Delta consistently has the highest revenue amongst its competitors, and it is due to the company moving first and expanding the market it serves and its ability to create joint ventures with foreign companies. Although Delta's strategy is working well, there are always improvements that could be made. Our advice to Delta would be to continue expanding into the international market and enter new countries. Delta is currently Team USA's Olympic airline. However, we also recommend that they work with all countries for events like the Olympics that are worldwide in order to get their name out there and to continue earning more revenue.
In conclusion, what Delta is doing is working. We can see this because year over year they've been having more and more growth from the previous year. But what they need to start doing is diversifying into different markets so that they can have more income generation and turn that linear progression we've been seeing year over year more into an exponential curve. The way they do this is by learning to become a household name in other countries. The way they do this is by learning the culture of their next target market. The reason why this is important is because they want to be able to know what their customers value when it comes to air travel. And by learning how to do this, they can answer the question, how may we serve you? The reason this is important is so that they can help take care of these other needs that customers do have, or these other wants that they do have when going through an airport. An example of this could be a Islamic country. Uh, Islamic believers have to pray 5 times a day, and so they could include amenities in their terminals for prayer rooms. This is a common practice for public areas and businesses to have these types of prayer rooms so that they can continue to be the best customer serving airline. So in summary, their external and internal analysis shows that they own the competitive landscape and they have great relationship with their suppliers while offering amenities like Sky Miles and having the best customer service. SWOT analysis shows that there's high attrition rates, but they have a really strong branding and a large fleet and customer base, giving them the edge over competitors. Some things they could do is expand on social media, and they need to be wary of growing competition and rising operating costs like fuel. And they also need to continue expanding into new markets, and they could even potentially offer sponsorship programs to other countries besides the USA Olympic teams or even nationally ranked sports teams.